Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And I wasn't expecting to do this live. Every time I think, oh, I was going to sit down and do prepare for tonight, because I'm doing a live stream tonight. And then something that I thought you'd all be very interested to hear about is, of course, there are 3 sunrises to go before the Nicola Bulley Inquest on Monday. So we've got 3 sunrises to go before the Nicola Bulley Inquest on Monday. Hi, Angela. And this statement, there's been a statement released today by Peter Faulding. Now, for those of you that maybe don't know about this case, because I always assume that everybody knows about the case, and probably most of you that are following me, you will have seen videos on this case, but there may be new subscribers coming in. Of course, Nicola went missing in January. She was missing for 23 days down by the River Wyre, and she just disappeared after she'd been walking her dog, and her telephone and the dog's harness was found, and it was all very mysterious. And for 23 days, various organisations searched for Nicola in and around the river. There was no sign of her for all that time, and a specialist, well, there were a lot of specialists, the police specialists searched the river, and then the family, though it wasn't really the family, Nicola's partner and her friend brought in Peter Faulding, who is he's not only a dive specialist, but he's a specialist in helping search for people, whether it be over land or whether it be in water. And he was brought in by them. He gave his services free of charge. I'll just show you a photo of him. For those of you who maybe haven't seen him, I think a lot of you probably know who I'm talking about, but just so that people know who I'm talking about. So here's Peter Faulding in his civilian clothes, also in his diving gear, etc. And his business is called the SGI Group. He's an underwater forensic expert, and he was on the list of companies, if you like, or extra services, extra agencies that were on the list that the police could call on for help, that the police had approved of people that they might call in to help them with missing persons investigations, etc. So they brought Peter in, and Peter went up and down the river many times, didn't find anything. His sonar equipment, his expert equipment, and following on from the police equipment, the coast guards, etc., nothing was found in the river, was it, for 23 days. Morning, Jackie. I don't know if you I'm just explaining to people about Peter Faulding, and the relevance is the statement that it's put out this morning. So yeah, anyway, Nicola wasn't found, and Peter Faulding said she is not in that river. He said clearly, if I haven't found her, she is not in that river. The other thing that's a point of controversy, of course, is that Peter says he was not given the full information, because then later on, after he had helped search for Nicola, Nicola was declared a vulnerable missing person, which she hadn't been declared as, well, not to the public before that, where it was stated that she had problems with depression, alcoholism or alcohol, and the perimenopause. And, all her dirty laundry held out to dry, and her not there to defend herself. So that was very, very irritating that all that was put into the public. The things that we want, that should be in the public knowledge, have not been put in the public knowledge. And the things that should never have been in the public knowledge, like, a private medical records, etc., or her private struggles, etc., that she can't even defend herself. They were put into the public knowledge. This makes me really angry. They tell the public not to speculate, not to do this, not to do that, and then they release all that information about her. And, you know, poor Nicola then was found in the river. So after 23 days of people searching up and down, and as they're not only Peter, but the police, they said they had waders in there, they had sonars in there. When you listen to the police press conferences, what they didn't do to find Nicola was nobody's business, but they didn't find her, and then she popped up in the river 23 days later. Then, of course, she was taken away to the coroner for autopsy, etc. And the coroner called a complete media blackout, and nobody's been really allowed to say anything until until the inquest, which is this Monday, 26th and 27th, because it's been extended to 2 days. So a lot of you probably know most of that already, but some of you didn't know that. So this is where we're at. The inquest is on Monday. Everybody's hoping to get some answers on Monday. Why was Nicola not found for 23 days of extensive searches by various bodies, if you like, various organisations, including Peter's? He was angry because he was not told these vulnerabilities of Nicola, so he limited his search to the information he had, which was that the police hypothesis was that she'd gone in the river, even though they had no grounds, really. They had no evidence for believing that Nicola had gone in the river, but they were insistent from the start, and now they're almost crowing about it, that they were right, that she was found in the river. But then if she was found in the river, why for 3 weeks of extensive searches by all these different organisations, why had she not been found? But okay, we've learned since then quite, you know, it is a tidal river, you know, bodies can become lodged, but, you know, there's various things said, you know, and they all conflict each other. But you know, and then the most telling thing as well is that the police just kept saying, we've got no evidence that she left the river, left the field by the river, so that's why they thought she'd gone in the river. But they actually have no evidence that she was ever by the river in the first place. Her phone was there, the dog lead was there, but you know, even her partner Paul said that he thought these were decoys. I mean, what a strange thing for him to say, really, when you think about it. Anyway, so this is the confusing case of Nicola. And now I was just when you think, oh my goodness, this can't get any stranger, we're all hoping for the inquest, you know, to get some results, to get some answers. The inquest is fully booked. There's 100 places at the inquest. Sorry, just let me get my coffee. Of which 70 places supposedly are for the public, but if anybody knows of anybody who actually got a place and is going, who is, please let me know, because I don't know what criteria they set for it, because, you know, inquests are public. That's the law in the UK. It's a public inquest. It's the finding the cause of death for someone. They are public. They're public for a reason. Hi, Tickety Boo. I know this PSYOP thing. See, I don't believe really. I do believe in some conspiracy theories, but the trouble is, if you think that when I saw Ernie and Dot, they look genuinely heartbroken, Tickety Boo, and people have said, you know, they knew Nicola. She was a real person. So I'm a little bit thingy about PSYOP, but I do think there is something very odd about the whole thing. So the reason that I've come on to do this live again, trouble is when I get information, I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait till tonight. I just can't wait till tonight. I've got to talk about this because it really has shocked me. So nobody has said anything since the coroner called for, even the police weren't allowed to comment, etc. Nobody was allowed to comment. And then suddenly, today, on the Friday before the inquest, there's been a statement released by Peter Faulding, who was, now Peter was sort of used almost as a scapegoat really afterwards. And in the family statement after Nicola's body was sadly found, they did refer, that the police read out for them, they did refer to so-called experts. So Emma and Paul brought Peter Faulding in to help. He offered his services free of charge. And then in that family statement that they gave through the police, through Pauline's stables, they referred to so-called experts. Did they mean him? Were they having a pop at him? Were they having a go at him? It just seems, I don't know, a bit ungrateful. I mean, he gave his services free. But anyway, so let's have a look at this statement. So I've seen this statement today on Facebook by the Specialist Group International, the SGI. Peter Faulding has made a statement. Now, I know for a fact that he and everybody else haven't been able to comment on the case. So he's left it to the Friday before the inquest to make this statement. And I don't know how he's kept quiet, really, because he's been slighted. Peter, whatever anybody thinks about Peter, at the end of the day, is that he's a professional. He's helped in that, he does a lot of good things. If he searched the river and for whatever reason they missed Nicola's body, I don't know the exact ins and outs of this sort of science. He was certain she wasn't there in that stretch of river that he'd searched. But maybe she was tangled up. There's always a chance, isn't there? But I still don't think it's right to be nasty towards him. Anyway, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to show you the statement that is released on the SGI Facebook page. Yes, Jackie is well respected. Until this, he was well respected by all the police. For that, all the police forces have had him on their list. But they think something's definitely happened with the Lancashire police. Whether they got a bit annoyed that he's saying, that she's definitely not there, or whatever. But they didn't seem to work with him. Hi, Jean. They didn't seem to work with Peter, did they? They were like, gosh, and I'd just released a video this morning of Emma, one of the Emma interviews. And on one of those interviews, you can see that there'd obviously been some argy-bargy between Peter and the Lancashire police. So there's some sort of like almost competition there. At the end of the day, everybody was trying to do the same thing and find Nicola, weren't they? I don't understand why they didn't all work together. What the irritation between them was. It's almost like, well, I'm better than you. Oh no, you're better than me, etc. They all should have been working together to find Nicola. Anyway, so let's have a look at the Facebook statement. I was really, I think it's a very, and I've screenshot it because I'm not sure if this will stay up here, put it that way, because I don't know if the coroner or the police might get annoyed because he wasn't supposed to, everybody had been sworn to silence until the inquest, but of course the inquest is Monday. So, okay, let's just make sure you can see it there, but I'll be reading it out anyway to you. Yeah. So this is the Specialist Group International, the SGI, and this is Peter Faulding's company, basically. And let me read it out to you. So he says, statement of Mr. Peter Faulding, CEO of Specialist Group International, SGI. Our thoughts are with Nicola's family and close friends, and we hope that the upcoming inquest into the death of Nicola Bulley provides the answers they are seeking and deserve. SGI were called in to assist in the search for Nicola Bulley by Lancashire Constabulary, following a request for SGI by the family. SGI, headed up by Peter Faulding, are proven specialists with decades of relevant experience in underwater search. SGI operates an array of technologically advanced and cutting-edge equipment. Our work is always carried out to the highest professional standards, with honour and integrity, and always in the best interest of the families involved, putting their concerns first. Over the years, Peter and the team at SGI have located many missing persons and vital evidence, bringing closure, relief and dignity to the deceased, their families and friends, while providing evidence for official investigations at the same time. To clarify questions from the press and public. Since leaving the scene at St Michael's on Wyre on the 9th of February 1923, the 9th of February 2023, sorry, I don't know where that came from, SGI or Peter Faulding have had no contact with Lancashire Constabulary. Regarding this case, SGI or Peter Faulding have not been requested to provide copies of the relevant side scan solar search data, search reports, photographs or notes made at the scene, or from the time spent with members of the family, friends and police officers from Lancashire Constabulary. Furthermore, SGI or Peter Faulding have had no contact with His Majesty's Coroner. SGI or Peter Faulding have not been requested to attend the inquiry or submit any evidence or statements for the inquest into the death of Nicola Bulley. Importantly, our thoughts remain with Nicola's family and friends. We do not wish to intrude on their grief at this difficult time. Our hope is that their privacy is respected and their wishes are put first as they go through the difficult period of the coroner's inquest. SGI and Peter Faulding will make no further comments. And they've also limited who can comment on the post. So, what do you? I mean, are you surprised as me? I mean, it's that statement. Peter's obviously put that statement out because people will have been asking him, weren't they? Have you been called to the inquest? Are you giving evidence at the inquest? And he wants to make it clear that nobody has contacted him for any of the information that he collected in those few days that he was up and down the river with his state-of-the-art equipment searching the river. Nobody's asked for that information. Hi, old bod. Hi, Trish. It's just really surprised me. I was certain that if not, he wouldn't actually be called to the inquest to give evidence, personally. Then at least, the coroner would have looked at all that evidence that he had, all that, all the records. Sorry, I'm laughing because the dog's making a funny noise. All that information that he had collected, like I said, the notes, the actual sonar pictures, etc. So they're not interested in that. I don't know. It just seems very strange to me. He's been respected for so long, he's helped on so many inquiries, like for April Jones, Peter Tobin. In the Peter Tobin case, he was Yeah, Nick, I'm staggered as well. So thank you, because I was thinking, is it just me? I just can't believe this. You know, because I'm trying to really have faith in the coroner and everything, and think that they would explore. Now, that suggests to me, I don't know, maybe the coroner has got a. Well, we have to wait and see. There's nothing we can do. We can only wait and see what the final verdict is at the end. But it just really surprises me that they don't want any of that information from him, not his notes, not even a statement just to read out, or, you know, it just very surprising. And I think the fact that Peter Faulding felt that he had to put that statement out speaks volumes as well, because that suggests to me that he's surprised as well. Angela, you know, I hope the papers, do you think, I don't think, the papers at the moment, they're not allowed to talk about it, are they? They're not allowed to talk about it. The mainstream media are not allowed to talk about it. There has been there's only YouTube, etc., social media, people talking about it, and they don't like it, but I just think it's that they just don't know what they can do about it. I'm sure if they could find a way to stop us talking about it, they would stop us talking about it, but, you know, they don't know what to do with the internet yet, do they? They haven't come up with a plan yet as to how to deal with social media, etc. They don't, you know, they can deal with individual people, I suppose, here and there, but really, if all you're doing is chatting about it on the internet, what can they do? You know, that's not against the law, so they can't, you know, they can't close down an internet site, just a social media site, just for talking about something. Surely not. We haven't come to that point, have we, where we're not even allowed to talk about things? Only they're allowed to speculate about everything. Gosh, you know, when they were saying like, oh, well, you know, speculation is unhelpful, etc. They speculate all the time. Everything they've said is speculation. They haven't given us any, do you know, and I keep harping on about it, but there's no CCTV, there's no dash cam, there's no witnesses that actually even say that Nicola went to that river. So when they say there's no evidence that she left the river, but they don't even know she was there in the first place. And in fact, there's not, you know, it'd be interesting to see some coverage of if she did that walk every day, but we've not seen any coverage of her doing that walk any day. The only CCTV that we've seen is the CCTV that Paul released to the True Crime Channel. You know, I mean, that just is, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Let's just have another look at this. I mean, I think it's very telling. So he starts off, you know, obviously commiserating with the family, and not all my thoughts are with Ernie and Dot and the two girls and Louise, but certainly not with you know who. But yeah, we hope that the upcoming inquest into the death of Nicola Bulley provides the answers they are seeking and deserve. And then he goes on to say that they were called in to assist in the search for Nicola Bulley. So he's saying that we were called in by Lancashire Constabulary following a request for SGI by the family. But Emma herself said that it was her and Paul that saw something about him on the internet and asked him. Anyway, SGI, headed up by Peter Faulding, are proven specialists with decades of relevant experience in underwater search. You know, and I've watched his, I'm thinking of getting his book, actually, that What Lies Beneath, because I think it'd be very interesting, because I watched him being interviewed on the podcast, which he couldn't talk about Nicola's case, obviously, but he was talking about a lot of other cases, and it was very interesting, you know, and so many people that they have found, you know. And one of the cases on there which particularly struck me, and if you've watched, you know, if you've followed my videos, you may already know the story, but if not, you know, it was a story of a guy, a van lifer guy, you know, who went into the river to have a wash or whatever, and unfortunately got caught in the weeds, and unfortunately couldn't get out, but they knew exactly where he was because his dog was sat at the side of the river howling. So they knew, you know, whereas Nicola's dog was just running around, didn't know where to go or what was going on. And I think if Nicola would have gone into the river, the dog, if not, would have jumped in the river because it was a water dog. It loved the water. There were loads of photos of Willow in the water. So it would have jumped in the water to try and help her. But it was dry, the dog, when they found it, so that hadn't happened. Or she would have sat by the, you know, whereabouts, wherever Nicola had gone into the water, like that dog did for its owner. She would have sat there howling if you couldn't actually help her, because that's what dogs do. So, you know, it's all just, well, try not to swear. But, so yeah, over the years, Peter and the team at SGI have located many missing persons and vital evidence, bringing closure, relief and dignity to the deceased. I think he must be really smarting about this, because he's had this very good reputation and helped so many families for so long. And then now it's like he's been dragged through the mud, you know, because they didn't find Nicola, and then she popped up in the river 23 days later. So, gosh, you know, so difficult for him, because that is his life's work, isn't it? That is his business. That's what he does, and it's had aspersions cast on it, and I think it's unfair. I agree, Jackie. I'm glad he's put that statement out, because he had to say something, but it's, like you say, it's dignified, it's respectful, but it makes his views clear and in a respectful way, if you like. So it's not actually, you know, saying anything horrible about anything, but he's making it clear that he's had no contact with it. The police haven't contacted him for any further information. And yeah, and I think he's really angry. I expect he's extremely angry, because for him to put that statement out, and as I say, I've screenshotted it because I wouldn't be surprised if that disappears. I don't know what will happen there, but I think he's just really angry, and he's just had to say something before the inquest starts, because he's probably had everybody asking him about it. So, oh gosh. So, I mean, what can we say? We've got to wait. We've still got to wait till, well, we've got to wait till Tuesday for the final result. The thing is, Angela, the police said in there, this is, like Peter said, he went along and he did say that maybe if the body was in the weeds, he might not have seen it. But the police, bloody Silly Sally and Rocky Rebecca, they said, oh, we've used everything, you know, at our disposal to search the river, waders, sonars in the weeds. They actually said that people have been in there wading, the sent sonars out into the weeds. They said in their police conferences that they had checked the weeds, etc. Now, I know it's a tidal river and there's a lot said about it. It might have been higher, it might have been lower, and but still, I think it's just strange that for 23 days it didn't appear. The body didn't appear. Poor Nicola's body didn't appear. And then after that final push, do you remember that was the interview that Emma was saying, we're going to have a final push this weekend? But how did she know it was the final push? Because it turned out to be the final push, because on the Sunday, that was the Friday, and on the Sunday, the body turned up. It was almost as if once Peter had searched, and then Paul had said, I want all the outbuildings, all the areas searched. It's definitely not the river. You know, and so it was after that, and did the attention wander from the river then to other, you know, other outlets or whatever. It's, I need to do like a summary of this whole thing, like put it all together in the, I don't know about the timeline of when Nicola was at the river, because I think that's just a load of rubbish. I don't think we have any idea of all that. really nothing certain, but a timeline of how it progressed, you know, day by day. Yeah, a final push into the river, Charlie, maybe. Yeah, gosh. See, I do think at the end of the day, the coroner is going to decide the cause of death, but how will he decide? Like, if the cause of death was drowning, but how will he decide whether she fell into the river, was pushed into the river, or jumped into the river? If the cause of death turns out to be drowning, but it's the actual well, we'll see what his final verdict is. I think it's got to be an open verdict, because I don't see, unless they know a lot more than we do. So we'll see. Maybe there is evidence that we don't know about yet. I've often thought maybe she left a note, you know, is that why they were so certain, or well, we don't know. So we've got to wait and see what's presented, haven't we? But we know that Peter Faulding his evidence won't be presented. So all that work he did, it's not even going to be taken into account at the inquest. Gosh, he must be fuming. He must be absolutely fuming that his name has been sort of brought into disrepute like this, and he's just been sidelined when, you know, until this, he was always respected. He's been respected for years. And it will be a difficult task to establish the cause of death, just because of the amount of time that she was in the water. Unfortunately, you know, I've sort of read a little bit about it. I wouldn't present it on here because it's not very nice. When someone's been in the river for 3 weeks, it's very difficult to assess exactly what's happened to them. Okay, so I thought you might want to know about that. I know it's not very nice, sorry about that, but I knew you would be definitely interested in this. Let me just turn that off while I say, yeah, I knew you would be interested in Peter's statement. It's there on Facebook for anyone to see under his SGI group. See if you don't know what might happen over the weekend, and maybe other people come out with statements that have been biting their tongue for a little while. I think, you know, it's been so silent, hasn't it? And I bet there's been a lot of people biting their tongue one way or another for all sorts of different reasons. So it'd be interesting to see who starts talking first, won't it? Angela, I can't believe that she did that. But you know what? You don't know what's going on in people's minds, do you? But the only thing that would... it's the way she did it. It's not that I wouldn't believe that she might do it. It's the way she did it, because Willow was not safe. Willow could have gone back towards that road, which is so busy, you know, you can hardly get across it. You know, as cars whizzing past, there's no way she would have left Willow to possibly get squished on the road. I just don't think there's any way that would have happened. So yeah, anyway, I thought you might be interested in it, so I've jumped on to tell you about it. I am doing a live tonight. I was going to talk about another case. Well, we'll see if there's any developments. I'll probably end up, if there's any developments in this, obviously I will be talking about it to you, but I wanted to talk a little bit about somebody else. But anyway, I feel a relevance with this case, and some people will say to me, no, it's not this case, the Powell case, the Powell family case, really, but particularly the mother, who's never been found. But anyway, I'm waffling again. So yes, the GoFundMe, Angela. There's so many red herrings in this case, isn't there? Not red herrings, but so many markers that make us feel suspicious. But the biggest thing to me is the lack of emotion. Because every time I make a new video about one of Emma's interviews or Paul's interviews, and I saw it this week then when I did the video about Dot and Ernie's emotion. And whereas when I watch the interviews of Emma and Paul, there is no emotion. I don't feel it. So if I don't feel it, it's not there as far as I'm concerned, because otherwise I would feel it. But yeah, Charlie, I don't know if the welfare check will be discussed. I mean, again, we still don't even know what happened at the welfare check. You know, it's all rumours. You know, if they don't want us to speculate, why don't they just say what happened? I've read many things. There's a lot of things I've read on Facebook that, you know, I don't bring into my videos because I don't know if they're true or not. You know, there's things like, you know, that there was domestic violence and, you know, Paul was seen doing this and doing that. But I don't know them for certain. They're rumours. There's nothing official. I want the police to say this is what happened, whether it's that something did happen or something didn't happen, because we want the official confirmation of what happened. I don't want to be on here saying rumours about what happened. I want to be on here telling you what happened. Angela, I thought those guys in America talking about body language said that he was telling the truth. Anyway, I don't know. There might be another lot of the body language experts. I thought they said that he was telling the truth, but you know, I just don't know. Thing is, body language, it's not a science. You don't, you know, you're only giving your opinion, really. You know, they're not expert. Call themselves an expert. I'm just as expert as them. You know, body language. There is no qualification. There is no, you can't get a degree in body language. So you just like, it's just on instinct. And, you know, I think police have it normally. The police have this instinct for when someone's telling a lie, because over years they deal with so many people telling lies. They learn the signs, but even them, sometimes they're wrong, you know, so it's not an exact science. So we can only sort of see what we think about it and make our decisions on that. But it's only evidence, you know, evidence is what counts. That's the thing that I think is lacking in a lot of cases, isn't it? It's the evidence. This is what worries me about this case. Where will the evidence be? If there's no evidence, then he cannot come to any other verdict except an open verdict, unless he has got some evidence of, you know, either accident or self-deletion. He can't be thinking of it as being homicide, because I'm sure that it would have been passed back to the police by now. Yeah, I wish they could do a polygraph test on. We don't do them, do we? Do we do them in the UK, polygraph tests? Occasionally, maybe. But yeah, there's something strange going on. There is something strange going on, whether it's the police just trying to cover their own backsides. This is fundamentally it for me, I think, right from the beginning. This is what, who was watching this one? Peter Blakely. He was saying that is the fundamental mistake that they made right from day one, not cordoning off the scene. They didn't cordon off the scene. So then they moaned about everybody going to the scene, but they just left it open. Anybody could go. No, you know, it wasn't cordoned off. You know, so people went around till in the end they had to do that dispersal order. But if they would have cordoned it off in the first instance until, hi Diane, thank you. If they would, hi Deb, if they would have cordoned it off in the first instance, then we wouldn't, I don't think we'd be here like this, talking about this. They might have found something more out there. They were too quick to think that she'd gone into the river. And I personally believe that's because of what PA had told them about her menopausal issues and etc. That's why I think they were so quick to think, you know, that that's what had happened. And that then it was too late. It was too late to do it then. And so they couldn't do anything about it, and they're just stuck with it now. And now maybe they're just trying to, I mean, you don't want to think that they would just whitewash it but maybe they are still searching for evidence. So again, we've just got to wait and see. We're going around in circles now, aren't we? Okay, so I'll see you later on today. Thanks so much for listening to me waffle on. And remember to always live and love very wisely and carefully. See you very soon. Remember to look after you first before anyone else. And I'll see you very soon later on today in the next video. Thank you so much. May your gods go with you. Thank you.